current budget, we've made any changes. The next line is over is going to be the requested budget. This is the amount that when I sent out my form to everybody, this is what they came back in and what they're requesting. And then the last item is what I'm recommending to y'all as commissioners for on the, and then you'll see to the side of that, not really professional, but it shows you what that amount means off of last year's budget. For example, if you look at food for jurors, I had $200 set last year. This year, I'm saying $500. We're opening back up. I'm actually needing $300 more than what last year's budget was. Now, that being the case, and you can just go page by page and see what the difference is. And down at the very bottom, it'll tell you each department how much more they need. For instance, the county judge's office, I'll need $200 more than I needed last year. When you go over to the Commissioner's Court, y'all are going to be about $1,000 less than you were last year. So it's a little savings there. But the big items, though, are going to be, for instance, non-departmental. If you'll go over to non-departmental budget, that's going to be about 5 or 6 in. That's a $750,000 savings from last year, but the majority of that, most of that's going to come from two things. One of them is the project work that we had scheduled, that we won't have any more project work for LCDC. And the second thing is what I'm anticipating the payment on the new bond is going to be. Now, I'm going to recommend that we still budget the $1.2 million that we budgeted in the past. But I just want to give you an example of what it would be. The reason being is at the end of the year, if we didn't need that money for anything, I'd like to see us pay that each year on that bond payment, where we could probably get it paid off instead of 10 years, maybe about 6 years.
But we'll have to keep that the same right now because that's
well, this
the bond.
but it will be by the time we get to the budget.
October?
Yes, I think we're going to have it all set up before October on that bond.
So why have to go through the November election?
Well, we won't,
To do a.
for the M&O, that's the case, and it would be next year we need to be talking about this. So I'm not going to. I'm going to say that we're going to get it done. They assured me that we can get it done, so if we have to, we'll have to submit the budget. But this is just trying to give y'all ideas of how much each department has requested, and then I want to go into and all this has nothing to do with payroll primarily. You understand that? What I did was what the recommendations that people said they needed, and without discussing payroll. So that being the case, let's go then into, and I don't know if I gave everybody a copy of it. Right here. Does everybody have a copy of this sheet right here? Okay. Would you mind making everybody a copy of that? Let's talk. That's going to be the meat of the budget this year. That's going to be all the different elected officials and some other positions within the county that I want to talk to you about. In addition, let's talk about one thing that came up on today's budget. And I need to see if anyone has a problem with this. On today's agenda. In the past, the Child Welfare Board used to get money from us. And at some point in time, we get any money. And they're asking that we provide them with anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500 for the year. Does anyone have a problem with us giving them that money to the Child Welfare Board? And what that is, when they get children in, they feed them at Christmas time, they try to get a little something. It's just kids that are have been placed in the foster care or whatever. Does anybody mind if we put that back in the agenda in the budget? It's one of those questions like, are anybody against the kids? And I know you're not, but still, they're asking for that money. While she's making those copies, let me take another thing to you. Go ahead. Yes. I'm not trying to get too much of your lane here.
What did you want to increase the twelve regular to?
They're asking for 1,500. I don't see a problem with 1,500.
I'll just wait for that.
All right. Before I go any further, we did get our revenues, what we anticipate our new revenues are going to be. It's going to be around, Stacy's around 30,000, right? 35,000.
Their values are a little over 30 million.
I don't, I'm talking about the amount that we will get is around 30,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Anyway. Okay. Now then, let's look real quick and talk about this sheet right here. And this is going to be the thing that's going to be probably, and I'm sorry guys, I'm going so many directions. Number one, I am going to recommend to y'all a 3% increase for cost of living. Okay. What I did right here is I looked at what the county, and we'll just take the county judge, what I make, what the average is for county judges. With the 3% increase, I'll get a 2107. That'll get me to that. I'm not recommending anything different for me. Commissioners, I haven't recommended anything different for y'all. But if you look under, let's just say the county clerk. County clerk is 49,321 is what she makes, and that's what all of our elected officials make, other than the sheriff and the JPs and the constable. But anyway, 49,321 is their base, not counting their longevity. The average, as you can see on the county clerk, we're quite a bit less than what most counties our size are paying. That's counties between 18 and 25,000. With the 3% increase that we're going to, if we were to approve that, that would get them up to the 5801. I'm requesting a little bit more than that, and the reason being is that I did that is because of what the JPs are asking for. The JPs and the constables are asking for quite a bit of money this year. So, you see how this kind of works? And let me give you, let's go down to the just, well, let's just go down to all of them. The sheriff would be the next one here. The sheriff makes 5144. The average for a sheriff is around 64.5. You have to put a little note there, though, that most of the sheriffs don't get the additional monies for the LCDC pays us to do our sieges for, and all of the things that y'all are having to do in addition. But anyway, so that still being said, with a 3% increase, that's going to get him up to currently to about 51,649. I'm recommending that we get him closer to that average in case we ever lose that money for whatever reason they decide to close it down. He's a little bit better shape. And so the sheriff's department, you can see it would be a 53-51 difference. That's the amount of difference I'm asking for this year to get him. And that would be the amount less. Justice of the peace. This is an area that, as y'all remember last year, the Justice of the Peace filed a grievance. They wanted more money. We were able to get them a little bit more money without having to go through the complete grievance program. The Justice of the Peace, I do know in their defense that the state's requiring them to do a lot more than they used to do. Nonetheless, if you'll look at it, Justice of the Peace currently is 42,604. The average is 52. 3% would give them 1279. We would get them up to 43,883. The reason that I recommended is 50,000 for each one of them is that number one, you would get them closer to what the average is. But number two, we would in the 24,000. That's what it would cost us for all four of them. We would have some savings if we do away with the travel, though. And one of the things I've asked Murray to do is to give me a vehicle, or two vehicles. We're going to put one of them here at the courthouse, and one of them at JP4 in Mahia. And when the JPs need to go out on inquest, or if they're on call and they have to drive back and forth wherever, they can get that vehicle, do what they need to, and we can do away with the traffic. This is just something I'm throwing out there because a lot of times that travel gets a little bit of a pain in the butt. Emergency management dispatch, as you can see, that's what Matt makes. Matt's here, and I don't mind saying this. We get way more than our money from that road with everything he does. We don't worry about our radios. We don't worry about our flood claims, our grants. That's just something I'm recommending this year. Another item, though, is the Justice of the Peace Clerks. This is an area that we were way below, and I don't have any averages, but I know that here at the county, we start people off at 31.8, I think it is, with a 3% rate, or even more than that. We were paying most of our clerks on average $29,800. I'm recommending that we move that up, be more in line with what we pay most of our other clerks here in the courthouse. And those are full-time positions, by the way. JP clerks, they do work full-time. IT clerks, I'm asking for a little bit of money for them. One of the areas that, the only real area that the county VA had was that he was nervous about Jeff James, the assistant DA. Boyd just would hate to lose Jeff James to another department somewhere, so he asked if we raise that up a little bit, as you can see. I raised him up a little. The problem with Beth Tobin down there is that she's already getting about maxed out for what I think we can pay for assistance, frankly speaking. Moving on down, the county auditor, I didn't even do anything with them. And the reason I say that is she makes $54,217 plus another $4,800 from the south. That'll be something that'll be a recommendation from Pat Simmons and up there, because they're the ones that set y'all's pay. We're hoping that it stays somewhere in line with this 3%. But if anyone up there needs more or whatever, I need to hear from them. That's kind of hard on that. Let's go down into the an area that we have major, if I didn't say it, major problems, and that's going to be at our law enforcement center and our jail. As you can see, Captain Turbiardi, I really didn't ask for anything more for him. Lieutenant Graves, and what happens is once you go down to the bottom to the jailers, we got 19 jail 2s and 13 jail 1s. Murray and I agreed that just the regular $18 an hour would probably be better than just trying to split that up. That's going to get us up to where we can hopefully start attracting some of those people. Even if it's people from LCDC that starts getting a little worried about their positions over there, which I don't think they're worrying right now with the amount of people they have in there, but they can come over and go to work for the county and make close to the same money that we're making. Frankly, I think a lot better benefits. But what happens is, as I go, instead of going down here, I need to go from the bottom up, because as we do this, we had to increase to make it fair to the people that have been there longer, so that it makes their pay fair. And you can see what we did there. This is where the majority of a lot of the money is coming from. The next area that I put down was our actual law enforcement. And once again, to get this to where it needs to work properly, I hope, is that we look at the deputy there. The deputy, we thought we could get them to around $20 an hour. That would be something that would help. A lot of places are paying 30, 40, 50, 60,000 a year. This would get them up to about 40,000 a year. Corporals and sergeants would get a smaller raise. CID and the captains would get go up a little bit in the raise. Going to the next page, we got a request from the about the admin ladies that work there. They're all with this raise that I'm recommending. They're all going to be close to what all the people in the county are making as far as that raise. Road and bridge, I did not put anything down. Jerry was really sick at the time, and other than I don't know if there's anyone out there that's just needing something right now, you'd be able to tell us, I guess, Jerry. But I'm ready to talk about any of this that y'all would like to talk about. All this is numbers on paper, and we can start playing every bit of this around. We did get a request from another group. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Request for funding from the Limestone County Voice for Children. And they're asking for a $5,000 request. This is a group that their office out of Bryan College Station, but they do have an office here at the Monroe Center. Once again, I think we're happy to give all this to you, let y'all all look at it to verify who they are. This is the request is coming from Kimberly Martinez. It is Voices for Children. It's just another thing. Anytime y'all want to start talking about any of this, I'm ready. As y'all can see, this is the budget that we look at each year, page every page. I've gone through every one of those. I've tried to make it easy for you as far as the original page that I gave you, all the different color codes on it. So I'm opening it up. Let's talk about, let's talk about the constables. The constables were an area that I would like to do something that we did in the past. The constables here we pay around $38,000. The average for our area is around $36,000. So we're paying our constables at a fair rate as far as the base pay. Now they've asked for quite a bit more. They asked for $43,000. No, I take it back. I'd have to get on there and find out what they actually asked for. But the point that I was trying to make is, one thing I would like to do is, once again, put their travel into their salary. I'd like to do away with the monthly travel. That we have to get it in, we have to go through it, it takes time to do it. I would like to just say that's part of your money for your travel will go into your salary, and we no longer do that. Ray, you're here. Do you have any problem with doing that? I know y'all love sitting there and writing down that report each month, but frankly speaking, I don't think it does any of us any good. I think it just causes more work on them. The problem is, I just don't see how we can get the constables to the amount that they wanted. And let's go over, if you don't mind, let's go into this section right here, and let's go to one of the constables and I'll show you. Let's see if I can find it. Anyone gets here before I do it, all right. Page 22 of 42. 22 of 42. There's 23. There'll be one for each precinct 1, 2, and 3. But it starts at page 22. This is what they've actually asked for, pretty much. They were asking for a raise up to $45,000. They were wanting a increase of travel, an additional $450 a month for travel. I just don't see how we can get to this amount with what counties our size are paying their constables. So what I'm recommending that we do is that we, with the 3% raise, we give the constables a $43,000 a month total a year. Excuse me. And that we do for this budget year, we reduce a little bit of this. They're asking for bulletproof vests. I don't know what to say. I know you can get a bulletproof vest for a whole lot less than $1,200. I've already done to work on that. Ammunition is something I think we throw in there. All of them need a radio, which we can get radios cheaper than 50. Matt, what can we get the comfortable the radio for, price wise? You got an idea?
Probably 6, 7.
That's what I was thinking. So I want to recommend that we lower that down a little bit. The body cameras, I think they need that. The additional travel, I think we're gonna have a hard time paying that before we are today. So I think the constables are gonna be one of the areas that are gonna be less appreciative, but I'm recommending that we go to 43,000 for them for the year, which is more than the 3% raise and about $1,500 more than what they're making now. I'll open it up for any comments if anybody has anything on the top of their head. I thought we were all going to talk about that maybe we haven't gone through. Again, none of this is concrete. This is all recommendations. I don't want to brag about what I do, but it's taken us a long time to get this together for you.
Richard, is there just not any data like on those, on the averages, like we're starting like with the emergency management dispatch and going down through,
Yes.
the IT?
The only thing that I would do is I'd have to call you, what I did on these others. We only get a list from the state on the elected officials primary. And so we would have to call each county and say, what are you doing in this? I can tell you right now, on emergency manager, I have called on that one. I didn't get many of them, but we're probably one of the lower paid in that position. Usually that was a position with only like $15,000. But what happens is, if it was only emergency management that he did, I would say, well, maybe that is $1,000. But there's so many jobs that he has that gets thrown on, and at some point in time, I think we need to make sure that we're paying for his work. And Matt's an old friend of mine. He's sitting here, and I won't say anything too much good or bad, but I don't know any employee in Knoxville County that we get our money, as much money out of it.
Well, no, I was just talking about not just picking out that particular one, but like the.
All the rest of them.
police clerk and IT directors. And
No.
I just didn't see an
Other than-
average, that's what I was talking
Other
about.
than spend the time to call every county, find out. That would be numbers.
Judge,
Yes,
on the constables, on this sheet that you gave us,
yes,
we have recommended 43. And with no travel.
right.
But on the actual page 22 of 44, we have 45, 725. Well, no, you have 45.
Yeah, I changed that around. Let me look at it.
It's just there's $2,000 difference there. That's just,
Yes. And what I had to make sure was, and I may have.
well, and the reason I asked that is because the current budget has salaries and travel.
Yes.
And the new recommended budget without travel is actually going to be less money, even though we gave them 3% rate.
Hang on a second.
At 43, at 45.
Yeah.
Your current budget numbers though, because I don't have what you're looking at, but
You have longevity.
that's longevity.
Yeah, you see, that's going to skew these figures.
And
That's what I'm
so
trying-
what the judge has right here is just strictly the base, no
Okay.
longevity.
But on the same token, I try to make sure that they did get the 3%, well, that's a little bit.
Yeah, well, and that explains the difference in 43, 45. Four have, I mean, like, Ray's got a lot of longevity. He's gonna get one of his longevity's higher than, well, I know he retired, so his longevity may not be very
No,
high.
it started over.
Yeah, he started over, so.
Anyway, anything else that y'all want to discuss, talk about? This is a year that we actually are able to do some of the things. One of the things I found out is that we have one of the highest budgets of all those counties I just told you about. And we pay our employees less than most of them. The reason for that, I found out, is primarily that most of them don't have a $1.2 million payment to the jail. In all fairness, and I wasn't here when the jail was built, a lot of counties our size are kind of getting away from jails, if at all possible. When I'm at these judges' meetings, there's some words you use, some adjectives to throw out that you shouldn't, and one of them is jail. They don't like to talk about a jail because it's very costly to handle jail. That being said, we do have a very nice jail, and we want to keep those employees, and we want to be able to maybe to go past that. So the reason I'm saying this is that we do have some new revenues coming into the county, and now would be a good time to kind of bring those revenues up in line. We can talk about a lot of other things, but I don't think we ever do wrong by trying to help people out, especially the people in poverty, especially the jailers and the deputies. And the reason I say that is because the deputy right now, and we're talking about raising our deputies up to, I remember right, it was around $20 an hour. It's my opinion, and Murray, please help me on this. A deputy right here could leave today, go to almost anywhere a town sergeant does, and start off with what, Murray?
Considerably more than what we're paying. And that's within a short drive almost anywhere from Navarre County, Waco, McLennan County, Bryan College Station, Brazos County, even Robertson County, they raise for almost all the deputies, including some of the supervisors.
So now that we're having a little, I hate to say extra money, because once we give this, it's hard to take it back. Now that we have a little bit more money coming in, or at least over the next 10 years, it's easier to be able to get this money out for our deputies, frankly, and our jailers, which LaSalle is a great thing. LCDC is a great thing. We sold it, we got money, we're fixing to reduce our bond, we did a lot of stuff because of that. But they do pay around $18 to $20 an hour for their jailers. So it's hard, when you're a county our size, it's hard to get that many jailers, frankly speaking. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you said earlier about, the paying the jail payment. If we didn't have a jail the size we have, at a $50 average for 100 inmates, which our daily count's 120 plus, and that's with Freestone County's 20, sometimes as much as 140. That's 1.8 million just for what would be our normal caseload of.
And in all fairness, right, I went down this road and I looked at it. I'm not trying to dispute you here, but we put about $3 billion a year in that jail.
I understand.
So
I'm
the
just
point
saying
is that we could actually close it down completely. We still have to pay for it. And ship all our people off and save money. But that would hurt us on our employees.
I'll respectfully, I don't know if you'd save money, but, cause it's gonna be costly whichever way you go.
You got to transfer.
You gotta transfer them, you gotta do your
But I'm just
all
saying,
your road and all your
I
other
agree with you on
stuff,
that one aspect. It's just that jails are hard to make money on.
Well, the jail's not designed to make money for a county like this. It's designed to hold.
It's hard to break even.
Inmates.
Okay, anything else that y'all want to talk about?
I would road and bridge department, probably one of the main departments to keep this county. And run, at road and bridge department, you ain't gonna get up and I would highly respect something.
Talking
As
about,
far as pay.
as pay goes.
Isn't that what you said, that you're going to talk to Jerry?
Yeah, and
Jerry's not on this list.
Jerry was out.
Yeah.
At the time when this budget was time together. I will say that when it comes to the people that I put on this list, that's probably not an area that we're gonna look at a lot. When it comes to the people at the bottom that we just worked and scraped, remember the first few years, we tried to get everybody at least $14 an hour. And $14 an hour is just no money in today's world, to be frank with you. So that might be something that we can sit down and talk about, and see if we can raise the road and bridge up a little bit too. But I'll be shocked if we do many of these people.
No, I'm just saying, I feel strongly for the road. I work with everybody there, and if it ain't for us, there's a whole lot of problems in this county.
I agree with that. Judge, when we start getting the income side of this budget, and we can figure, I think it's your goal, and I know it's my goal, to do these things, do the 3% raise. And you basically talk about payroll here, because you covered all the other items. Keep the 1.2 million on the jail program, and et cetera. But like to see us balance these figures and still maybe do a couple of cent tax decrease.
And that's what I was gonna recommend, that Natasha, and I told
When we
her,
get all our income figures.
yeah, Natasha's waiting on this right here for me. Once she gets that, she'll plug it all in, she'll plug in the 3% raise, she'll plug in everything that we talked about. And then, she'll take out some of the things that we've taken out of here. You know, for instance, this year, and I know Murray wants another vehicle, and we talked about this, Murray wanted 5 vehicles, we've gotten 4 ahead of time, that we're not having, and as you can see, let me just, y'all give me a hand a second. This is very interesting.
Assuming 27,
27 is the sheriff,
general fund, sheriff's department, that's jail.
county sheriff, right here. Okay. Let's get some access.
Motor vehicles.
Okay, here it is on 26 or 42. Sheriff's Department is one of our biggest budgets items. If you go down to the very bottom of that, to the right there, you'll see $214,000. And that's with him increasing almost every line item, to get to where he needed to be. But the good thing is, we want to budget that $250,000 for a vehicle, because we use that unanticipated money this year. So for his line item, and when Natasha plugged all this in, and I'm basing what we did last year, to see where we're at last year, we're gonna be $214,000 to be good just in that one pay. Okay. Now, Murray's saying he may need another vehicle, and we're gonna get together and look at all the vehicles. I need to get me in with a list of all the vehicles, let's sit down, brainstorm it. But at one point in time, he may need another vehicle. But don't forget, we're getting around $30,000 to $35,000 a month from us right now, in our per diem. And that's all going to be anticipated, or are you going to budget for that this year? How much are you going to budget for the 400?
I'm gonna do an average of 400 a day.
I would go over 400, because that's all they have to do. Anything above that, but as y'all can see, there will be times throughout the year that we're going to get enough money that we actually have to have another vehicle, or we do have to have another vehicle on road and bridge, we have to have something else. We can still go ahead and do like we did before with that, just for the revenue.
That's roughly 18,000 a month.
What is
Put in at 400.
So we're talking about maybe $15,000 a month we'll be getting, unanticipated. Right now, they're over 800, I think, is that right, Murray? Huh?
Yes, sir. What's up?
You know, they never got to 800 when we were doing it.
What are you doing in their pocket?
Anyway. Anything else that y'all want to talk about? Any other items that you can think of that y'all want to talk about in the budget this year? I would say that one of the things that I think we need to strongly look at, and I want to get over to y'all's lane a little bit in the road and bridge side of it. I have found out that oil and sand is not always the best remedy for potholes. I have found out from talking to other county judges that the wrap that we bought that one time, or we didn't buy it, we're given it, but the wrap we got that one time, added to the oil and sand, makes it a whole lot better repair. My thought is that we can buy some of that wrap pretty cheap. You're still trying to get TxDOT to get it to us, and I'm constantly calling them saying, hey, where do y'all have any of this at? Well, they're low right now, but they're getting.
We went all the way to Corio County.
Yes, and they may be getting tired of hearing from me, but I call them once a week, saying, hey, you know, what's going on? And we're talking, but I'm always saying, where do you have it?
We may pay more up front for it, but I think in the long run.
Makes you stay together out there.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's what we can, Jerry, what's your thoughts on that?
That is, that's number one.
You know, and I'm not trying to, again, this is just me thinking out loud, but if you got a hole, gosh, I'd love to see us square that thing off go in there and let it out, and maybe that would keep it. I know the easy thing is just to go throw some in there and take it down a little bit and go on with it.
I would love to do that. I'm trying to run this county basically 20.
Okay.
I'm trying to operate you on the bridge crew, not counting shop. I've got probably around 20 guys. That's late hands. I've got one crew goes around and fills potholes. That's in there.
Well,
At the same time, they gotta go to the park. Oh,
Yep.
you know,
so it may come, when the jail needed another person, we got another person. When the deputy, we needed more for up there, we get another person. Road and bridges need another person, Jerry. I think we're all up here.
I think we need several, so.
Okay. That might be something we want to talk about.
I think that is about maybe contracting out a little bit of mowing to help you guys take some pressure off. Maybe, I'm not saying a number or anything, but the state contracts out there mowing, and if it's something that's feasible in our budget, then maybe something we look at to take some pressure off you guys.
Those kind of look at that too, but the state pays for limestone county, a little over $200,000. That's twice. Once they go all the way to fence, next time.
I'm not saying the whole county, I'm just saying maybe some things that we can, might help go out, if they pick about 15 or 20 roads that we can take bids on it.
We're doing this hard as much as we possibly can.
What you got?
And I'll say this out loud, I'll say it openly, I don't care. Road and bridge is one of the areas I never get any complaints on, as far as the people there. Now, y'all probably get complaints from citizens,
They say it's not my fault.
but I don't get any complaints from either employees. Road and bridge is a pretty well-oiled machine now.
We don't get any complaints on the road and bridge department. We get complaints about,
How it's done.
and it's just what Jerry said, it is very difficult to keep up. And it's really a case of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. When people call, they're the ones that get fixed with freeze. I mean, it's just a tough deal. This year, and we've explained it to people every day, this year with the COVID, snowing, and 17 inches of rain, potholes are just crazy. And the same token, 17 inches of rain, we hadn't mowed my road all year. Yeah, we mowed it, but it grew. Johnson grass came back up 3 foot tall in about 2 weeks, and it looks like it hadn't been mowed. So we're catching up now.
Yeah.
Even from that 20, we're working on catching up.
That same token, I'll get it from one county.
Oh, yeah, you get it from 4.
I get it from 4.
Yeah, I know. We, as far as,
They add another person.
And nobody, of course, not when it goes back to the pothole stuff, it might be, I think I mentioned this before, there's other counties that have, they buy those mini rollers, they buy compactor, and that, we have to use the.
As far as the whole thing, it's not a mistake.
But if we
Roll
use.
it, whatever, it's not a mistake. You gotta have something.
But I think we need to try to look into it.
That's the biggest complaint I get. I don't, like I said, I don't get complaints.
Right.
I get complaints on the way we do our potholes. In my opinion, we're just the wrong.
It's just a temporary fix. That's what it is.
it turns the whole from white to black.
Right.
Jerry, what do you think about looking at this one problem, the pothole problem, and saying, hey, I need another person, I need 2 people. I need to see if we can buy some wrap, I need to see if we can buy a roller.
We have enough,
Right.
to create another pothole. We have enough inmates that we would have, if we had 2 people going around instead of just one. Sheriff, get them out. I was just wondering if we have, how many inmates are on the pothole? 2?
Sometimes.
2 to 3.
Okay, with the driver, the employee. I mean, I just wonder if we just had another crew.
It just completely depends on the jail
Top inmate, yeah.
and the type of inmates there in the classification.
Right.
Sometimes we have an overabundance of them, sometimes we have very few. Sometimes they start.
If it was up to me, I would spray Roundup on all the grass and bulldoze all the trees down.
Right away.
Let me give you the number of the lady about the flowers.
Yeah, well, honestly, I mean, it's a big responsibility for you guys. I tell people all the time, I love the people who mow their own ditches. You know, but
It's no
it
different
is
than
what it
your
is.
car. You mow your car every week. No, it's way out of control.
That way y'all can focus more on the roads, but
And it may be that we need to hire, like, especially with the mowing, some extra contract help, you know, that's.
We
something
try
to
to
help
hire,
get
we
caught.
try to hire summer help. I try to get at least 8 mowers for them every summer. This year, I had 3. Nobody was applying.
I think we need people on the mower year round, and we need to hire.
Well, and two, Jerry, and I don't know that we've gotten to that point yet, but in years past, when we got into August and September, and we had some money left in the overtime line,
I'm already, well,
then we say, hey, you guys want to work Friday and Saturday, making overtime. And,
I've already started.
well, they can mow a lot of stuff in turn loose for 2 days. We need to go somewhere, contingency there,
Yeah, that's true.
just for overtime.
I'm just,
But they do make a lot of headway when they go on Friday, Saturday, when the weather's conducive. You know, what's bad is you'll have a good weekend, rain Monday, Tuesday, you can't work, and then you mow Wednesday, Thursday, and golf Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Hello.
let me ask you, Murray,
Yeah.
do you have any way of getting, someone to go out to the parks on Saturdays or Sunday, either day? Just do a general trash pickup. Is that something you have inmates that can do that?
Completely dependent on the staff.
What happens is, as road and bridge is closed on Friday, if there's a holiday on Monday, sometimes you'll go from Friday till Tuesday without it being touched at all. And that's one area that I wish we could take a look at somehow or another, either Jerry or someone to flex a day, with Jerry, one of Jerry's guys flex a day, where he comes in on Friday or Saturday or one. But that is an area that I've seen of some complaints is in our park that we own. I think once we get them on site, they clean them up good, but for people coming to our area to spend dollars, vacation or recreate, the parks are getting really run down by the time Sunday.
Yes.
Fort Parker.
Fort Parker, we're still waiting to see if the state will take it over. I haven't heard that whether they are or not. We got it in this budget to pay them the money that we pay them. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to talk about in this workshop that we can add, delete, or change in any way? And we're gonna have another one of these, by the way. We're gonna have more, once Natasha gets all her dollars together, we'll see what the revenue is, and we're gonna get together to see exactly where we're at. This is just an initial budget workshop, to see what your thoughts are. So, if not,
I think it's good that we get everybody up. I think it's kind of sad that we're so far behind other counties with our tax revenue base. And when you look at these numbers, and I know that none of the commissioners in the cities all say it, the commissioners are also grossly underpaid. I know that I've asked for a little bit of travel, and I know that I get out and travel. My truck's only about 9 months old. I already have 20,000 miles on it. Granted, that's not just driving the county roads, but I do drive the county roads quite a bit during the week when I get out of Joe Fridays. So I think that we need to do something there too. If we could.
well, and that's an area that
That's the biggest discrepancy on here.
I think I went to Del Rio and finally changed or submitted for travel last time. Normally I go all over, I don't really for a dime. Some people in this county can't go from, 2 blocks, can't go 2 blocks without turning into traffic. That's their prerogative, I guess. Would y'all want to add, a travel allowance? I don't think. It's just not, it doesn't fit for someone on the commissioner's court to say, I want to give myself a raise. Just, for some reason, that just doesn't sound good. But on the same token, I think the travel allowance for the commissioner would not be something that would be out of line. Would anybody have Any opposition? I tell you what, let me just put it in there and I'll supply the y'all. Is what I'm gonna put in, but I think somewhere around $250 a month would not be a bad travel allowance for the commissioners. Does anyone have anything for it?
I just want to see the income side and I really think we have an opportunity to raise values and our additional income to maybe just our tax rate. Couple cents.
Yeah.
Raise the tax rate.
And as y'all heard,
And I don't think these increases are gonna keep us from doing that.
I don't either. And as y'all heard today, we just keep getting more and more money's coming in, which makes us attractive. We gotta be prudent with it, because they are coming in.
Yeah. Don't want to back up too much.
But we do need to retain good help too. I know that he struggles with that. You probably struggle with that, especially when you're dealing with hourly employees. People can probably care less about, unfortunately,
You're gonna get.
salary employees, but they do need to be paid fairly.
And
And we are really underpaying our people.
to be honest with
in
you,
all departments.
when I came up with this, I did this before I got his budget. I did this before I got his budget. When I got his budget, we were right there, we're
Pretty close.
About the same thing with
County attorney too.
Especially when you're president, it's voted in for secretary. We're really.
You have that line sticking out their truck, that's all.
I can't say a word about any of that. Ken's judge, Ken's. Let's leave that out of our budget discussion. Anything else that y'all want to add, talk about? If not, then I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any signatures down here?
Actually, you could be on.
Yes, sir. On
Actually,
What's Tuesday right there?
Can you,
I need to check this out. Yeah.